The Xenomorph species is amazing. They are extremely adaptable and can adapt to nearly any environment they are exposed to. They have spawned some of the most fantastic variations of any species that mankind has ever encountered. However, today's data file doesn't pertain to a normal variant of the Xenomorph genotype. Today we talk about a second and arguably the most dangerous mutation of the Xenomorph species, the Swarm Alien. Remember, subscribing to this channel will grant you clearance to view all the files concerning the Xenomorph species and its many variations. To begin this data file, I feel I must comment on how this extremely vicious variant of the Xenomorph was first discovered. It was an exploration team studying a planet for colonization in the outer reaches of human-controlled space. They detected a large concentration of organics on the largest continent of that world, and after receiving clearance from headquarters, they landed a dropship. After landing the dropship and exploring the local area, a large dome-like structure was discovered. It was revealed after careful exploration that this was in fact a xenomorph hive, substantially smaller than traditional xenomorph hives. However, it contained, shall we say, a unique and very dangerous secret within. After accidentally disturbing what appeared to be a vent in the side, they were attacked and immediately set upon by a swarm of giant insects. These grotesque and brutal insects forced them back into the landing zone, where a defensive perimeter had been set up. However, this defense perimeter was not to hold, and an evacuation order was given for the landing team. The team, with the exception of a handful of individuals who were caught in the initial attack, managed to obtain not only a dead specimen for study, but managed to get back off that planet. After a short time, a recovery and research team arrived to relieve the exploration crew of both their specimen and their duties to that world. The recovery team began doing tests on the recovered specimen. It was shortly after a DNA test specifically that a connection was revealed between the Xenomorph species and a native wasp species which had been scanned by drone earlier in that year. Further research was required to locate the source of the Xenomorph DNA, as if it was possible a queen was present, then she may too have been mutated. Research conducted by aerial drones and synthetic teams in fact didn't discover an alien queen, but did discover a large number of sites where xenomorph eggs had been seemingly intentionally deposited. It was at these sites that it was discovered that, as there were no hosts suitable, that the eggs had begun to break down. It was at one of these sites in particular that the local wasp species had been detected in abundance, which could explain how the xenomorph DNA was absorbed into the wasp species via their genetic absorption techniques. After the eggs failed to hatch, they began to break down. It was at this point that the wasps began to feed the remains of both the facehuggers within the eggs and the embryo located within the facehugger to the grubs of the nest. It was later discovered that this particular species of wasp had an unusual genetic trait in that they actively absorbed trace elements from their food. They used this unique genetic trait to fortify their own exoskeletal structure, much like the xenomorphs. This is done during the development of their larvae. It was this trait that allowed the xenomorph DNA to be absorbed into the grubs, and it was this absorption that allowed the DNA itself to take over the grub's natural DNA and began changing them into the swarm aliens that were discovered. In regards to size and general appearance, the size of the swarm alien isn't that large, as it's just under 2 feet in length. Its sheer numbers are what make them extremely dangerous. The swarm that attacked the landing team was estimated to be anywhere between 50 and 100 individuals strong. The swarm alien variant has the common acidic blood that most xenomorph variants have, but they lack a few things. A prehensile tail is instead replaced by a large pincer-like appendage. There doesn't seem to be an inner jaw within the head of this flying xenomorph killer. However, this variant of the xenomorph does have many of the wasp's original traits. The alien appears to retain the wasp's ability to fly, and when attacking they keep all their legs tucked under their body, and when on the ground they have 2 larger legs which are used for walking. This is believed to have come from the xenomorph DNA. Additional exploration and acquisition of live specimens has revealed that the top half of this unusual alien species can be released from the lower body if the lower body is damaged or a distraction is needed. It's assumed that this trait is much like a lizard losing its tail to a predator. Although not observed, it has been assumed under theoretical conditions that the missing lower half may in fact grow back, but I stress this has not been observed either in the specimens we have acquired or in the wild by our aerial and synthetic drones. As with all xenomorph species, there are many reasons why Weyland-Yutani wishes to acquire active samples, break them down, and utilize them in advanced research development of weapons, biotechnologies, and even new versions of our current hull plate alloys. However, the primary reason for Weyland-Yutani's interest in this particular variant is foremost how it came to be. We are largely unsure of how the genetic traits of the Xenomorph were integrated into the wasps, in spite of their elemental absorption trait. Further research is definitely required here. Thank you very much for watching this video. This data file and all materials concerning the Xenomorph and its many variations are classified. Please subscribe for unrestricted access to these files and videos. This is Weyland-Yutani, signing.